Hey guys, it's the end of the season for RCG racing and the drag racing. This time of year in Maine's really kind of weird. You start off with like 3 layers, and then you're down to a vest, and then you're down to a t-shirt, and then next thing you know it drops down to 35 degrees and it's frost outside. But that's life in Maine here. But at this point, you're not here to talk about the weather. You're here to talk about the dragsters. So the first thing is Baba Yaga. A lot of you guys were really rooting for Baba Yaga to go and make it to the next match, and I'm sorry, it just plain didn't. So as you guys know, I did a governor delete on this, and I did a Chinesium gasket kit on the side. Now, I wasn't able to replace a few seals in this, and in one of those liquid mechanic moments, I decided to add some automatic transmission fluid in it so it would swell the seals up and seal everything. Unfortunately, that automatic transmission fluid ate through the Chinesium gasket, and now it marks its turf everywhere it goes. Also, the tires on the rear, definitely not the right kind of tire for going drag racing. And if John comes around, right here, you can see that there's something going on in the belt system because we changed the engine. If we look at the engine setup where we are now, what's changed is that this vanny, the center of this is almost 2.5 inches lower down than what it was when it had the diesel in it. So what that did was it changed the entire lower belt geometry going back. And what we need to do, if John will back up a little, what we need to do is we need to make it so that this belt, when it exits this pulley, goes right straight to the very bottom of the transmission pulley. As it is right now, it humps over the top of everything, and that is really bad juju when you're trying to go fast on a belt system. So we need to totally reinvent all of this, and then we'll be back. Alright, we pulled off the plexiglass piece that slides in here for safety so you guys can see this easier on video. We swapped out to a 9-inch pulley, and when we swapped out to this 9-inch pulley, we ended up with an issue of not being able to clutch into 3rd gear while we were racing. I'll let you hear what that sounds like going down the drag strip. Now, the reason why we ended up with that issue when we changed to this 9-inch pulley is if I dump this clutch, I'm going to hit here, and this belt's going to float. And right there, I can shift. But if I'm really excited and the adrenaline is pumping and I'm in a race and I have the clutch all the way to the bottom, that comes down, that pulls this, and I'm literally unable to release the clutch. So what I didn't realize in my haste to make it to the race was that I need a clutch stop that will allow me to tune in this right here. Right now, I could shift. I could bang it from 2nd into 3rd, perfectly fine there. But if I go that far and this is tight, then if I'm moving, that doesn't work. So if we have John come up with the camera, a lot of you guys love the look of these X-Tracks. These X-Track tires are not at all what I should have been running. If you look at every top dragster in the group, all of them are running Turf Savers or they're running extremely bald go-kart tires or something that has almost no aggressive tread whatsoever. I ran these because this thing wheelies like a monster and I wanted to have immediate steering capability when I came down. If I can figure out the wheelies, I won't need these. Also, these, even though they are smaller than a 15-inch turf saver, they outweigh the turf saver by 5 pounds a tire. So I need to get rid of those. If we look on the back here, we're going to see that we have the tires that we've been running that are pretty well on the bald side. But what we did was we removed every other lug going down through, and what that let us do was run on just this center ridge of the tire, and that made a big giant difference on being able to get off the line a lot better. Also, switching to the 9-inch pulley on the front, the 9 actually runs to the original stock 6-inch pulley. As far as this transmission is concerned, we have yet to get into it and do anything to it. We'll have John come around here so that you can see this assembly here. This is our wheelie bar. And this wheelie bar was pretty much made in order to make sure that Schwarzenegger could not manage to go and break this thing. It weighs way too much. It is 22 pounds by itself. And the problem is, and I'll post up a picture of the Dragster taking off, and I'll put a straight line for where the straight line on the wheelie bar is. We're hitting it with so much force off the line that we're literally bending the bar down, and we shouldn't be doing that. So we need to get the balance to the front of the machine far more significantly than we had it this year. We'll figure that out. Unfortunately, we need lighter tires in the front, so we got to figure out a way to move some weight forward a little bit. Alright, a lot of people got questions about the Duromax and why it is I did things the way I did. We'll cover that in just a second. But the other number one question that I get is, where is the battery on this thing? If John comes forward and looks down in behind, this oddly colored gray Chinesium booster pack is actually the battery that I run this thing with. And I deliberately put it in with the USB charging port sticking up. It's just a push in order to check and see what the voltage is in it and how much percentage it has. And it is wired right directly to the low amperage charging circuit that comes out of this Duromax. And these are actually set to charge at about 5 amp. And the Duromax only puts out about 5 amp. So it works out fine. If this was a lawn tractor engine putting out 9 amps, it would fry this thing in a matter of a day. But because this is low amperage, it works. Alright, John, back up and we'll talk about a few things here. Alright, let's finish out talking about the Duromax and why it is this was done the way it was. I had to stay within the rules of the group. Now, on a couple of side notes here, a lot of people have pointed out that the governor arm is still here. It was way easier to hook up and leave the stock carb using the governor arm as the linkage than it was to orchestrate building another setup. If you're interested in this, I have a governor delete video that shows all of this being set up. Why the Duromax carb? Why didn't I just switch over to a slide carb, a round slide, a flat slide, an any kind of ATV carb, you name it? One of the rules in the group that I race with is that you have to stay with a stock carb that can be modified. Now, there are versions of this carb that are triple jet. This is a 2-jet system. It's got a pilot with a primary, and that means that it does have a massive dead zone at about 3,000 RPMs or so. From about 2,000 to 3,000, it's got plenty of kick, and then it's got a dead zone from about 3,000 to about 4,005-ish. And then once it hits about that 4 or 5, it will rev the piss out of it clear into $6,000. That also is why we switched to a 9-inch pulley. What we ended up finding with the 10-inch pulley was that no matter how much I revved it, on the course it would not manage to make it to the $6,000. It only made it to 54. So, at this point, this is dialed in. It is very happy to go up to $6,000. It is perfectly fine and enjoys it. We need to upgrade the carb for next year, but the $65 just was not in the budget this year. We need to upgrade tires. We need to think about a different set of tires for the rear for next year potentially. And we need to figure out some weight management to get everything to the front. I've debated maybe like the front dragster style gas tank with a pumper carb in order to move at least the weight of gas up there. That would get 4 pounds into the front of the machine and help out a little bit. But I don't know. Throw a bunch of comments down below. What would you change to make this faster next year? Also, I will post the current rules in the description. Man, I'm getting babbly. In the description, I will Furby all of the rules so that you can go through and tell me what loophole you would exploit next year using the Sears. Thank you, everybody. It was a good season.
Bury your winner in the far lane.